Hello everybody, and welcome to episode number 48 of Final Boss TV, your WoW endgame rating show. I would be your host. As per usual, my name is Adam K, aka Bay, and today we have a community spotlight on an awesome little corner of the internet. You guys are ready to bookmark it if you're not already doing it. Just get ready. Talk about some Warlords of Draenor beta, a little bit of that. Got some giveaways to do later on in the show today, and an announcement of sorts. But first, before we get to all that nonsensical awesomeness, Anna did her hair today. She's all looking fantastic. There's Anna. Hello.
Oh my gosh. See, now you've pointed it out. I'm going to be so self-conscious about it the entire time.
Nonsense. We all commented on when you walked back in. You're like, oh, look at Anna's hair. Ooh.
Well, hey, it's nice to see everybody today. Clearly, I was really excited to be on the show today, and we've got two of my favorite people on, and it should be a great one. So thanks, chat. Thanks, everyone, for coming out here.
Yeah. One of our first guests joining us today is going to be the founder and creator of SentryTotem, the awesome Tickle. Hello.
Hi.
Are you ready?
I'm ready, and I also did my hair. It's purple.
It is purple. That is.
We matched. We both changed the color this week. It's like a secret something wicked pact we have.
Yep. We're also going to have plenty of kitty cam on Tickle's camera this evening. It should be very awesome. And then, pronouncing his name properly, warrior staff expert of SentryTotem, Archimtiros. There he is right there. Hi, Archie.
You got it. 10 out of 10.
Hey, everybody.
And the eagle statue is still there.
Yep, still there. And I didn't do my hair today, but I am growing my warrior protest beard, so...
That's what I called it. Yeah.
We were talking before the show that he was growing the warrior protest beard, and he wouldn't shave it until warriors were fixed. And he joked that would be his beard would be like all the way down his face at that point.
Yeah, so. It's gonna go down to his knees before Warlords is launched, because we're not getting that until January of next year, right? I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
Hopefully not. Oh my goodness.
Well, on to a more positive topic. I'd like to have our guests introduce themselves a little bit. Now, I know that if you watch the show every week, you know exactly who these guys are because you have seen them before. But just for those who are tuning in this week and who may have missed you on previous episodes, I'd like for you guys to introduce yourselves a little bit, talk about what you do, where you play, where we can hear more from you, and, of course, your involvement with the website SentryTotem, which is what this show is about. So, Tickle, let's hear from you first.
All right, sure. I am Tickle, also known as TickleTotem. I've been the manager of Totem Spot for a while now, although I'm kind of throwing the theory crafting back to Bingenstein because he's much better at it. I used to raid with Pure, and that's where I was the last time I was on this show, but I am now with Something Wicked, along with Anna. And as I'm sure you all know already, I am the founder of SentryTotem. So that's why.
Founder, runner, just basically the head honcho, does everything.
Do you actually take the whole editor-in-chief title too, I think? Or
yes.
Is that... Yeah, there you go.
I do, and
Ooh,
I do edit stuff before I publish it. Not everything, because sometimes I'm a little bit lazy about things, but for the most part, I edit things before I publish them. So
she always messes with my margins whenever I write something.
Because you do them wrong.
She's killing me. Wrong or right?
Wrong.
Yeah, it definitely struck me that I know some of these WoW websites that we talk about, we sort of, if we don't know who's behind them, we say like, oh, the team, like the Warcraft Logs team or the SentryTotem team, but it's very much a one-woman show. It seems like you do, you definitely do a lot of the running of it, Tickle.
I do.
Mm-hmm. So let's hear from you, Archie. How did you get involved with SentryTotem, and what is it that you do for the site?
Well, for those of you who don't know me already, I'm Archimtiros, or Archie, because nobody can say my name right.
Correct.
I've been playing Warrior since 2004, back in Molten Core and Ani's Lair. I've been with Pure since the beginning of Mists of Pandaria and continuing with them throughout. Really enjoyed being able to do a little bit more writing, something I've always enjoyed, and I get to do all the class audits and help people, and that's pretty much how I got started just on MMO Champion, just writing stuff and helping people out, answering questions. And this is just a little bit of a better format to do that.
It is. It's sort of like a funnel for a couple different styles of these little bits and pieces that you get from like forums here and a live stream here, and it's all kind of put into one spot. And that's why I thought it'd be a great idea, especially on the brink of a new expansion when it's really going to help, which we'll get into, of course, more later in the show, about how having a resource like this available for the community is going to be really helpful when everything is changing. So much is changing. So you have questions.
And what kind of content do you contribute to SentryTotem then, Archie?
I primarily write for Warriors. I have a few little columns on there. I like to call the Professional Warrior because that's what I try to be.
That name. I like it.
Thank you. On top of that, unlike a normal blog where people just write pretty much whatever's bothering them that week, I try to keep mine a little more spaced out and a little more focused on bringing information to people. So I might not write about what transmog I like the most this week, but you know, my most recent series is focused on Warcraft logs, teaching people what it is, what it does, why it's better than World of Logs, and how to use it.
Very interesting. So that's a taste of the kind of content people can read from you if they go to SentryTotem and look up your work.
And we have all sorts of different types of articles, too. It isn't all just about classes. Kern has a very good series covering guild leadership, which I love reading because he's a great writer. And everybody who contributes there has pretty good articles, so there's something for everybody.
Yeah, I'm pulling up your Professional Warrior first impressions of Warlords, and you've got quite a little bit here. Now, is this the alpha before the last change wave went through, I assume?
Yes, that was the first one. I've got another one in the works.
This is a little bit in-depth there. I'm still scrolling. We're still going. We'll get there. Oh, wait, maybe not.
A little bit in-depth.
I've actually been criticized a little bit. I started out as a technical writer, so I'm very in-depth and detailed with what I do.
Well,
sometimes
awesome,
I have to go back and recondense.
Oh, to chop down a little bit, maybe?
Yeah.
Take
Make
off
it
a little bit of the
readable.
branches. I got
People don't fall asleep halfway through.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, if they're part of the Warrior community and you're really getting into like what is going on, because Blizzard's going to obviously have their huge, gigantic patch note encyclopedia, right? But there's also a different way you read through that kind of stuff. But if you're only playing a DPS warrior for this in this example, then going somewhere to read about just that would probably be more beneficial to you than reading the entire 17,000 or how many ever words Regarius is going to be writing up to now for the huge patch notes to see what has changed for you, right? And to kind of condense it down, let Archie do the work for you. That's what I'm getting at.
There you go.
Yeah. Let him distill all of that information. So. So then, Tickle, I guess, have you always been an elemental shaman?
Basically always, aside from my very first character ever.
Right. Which was what?
I mean,
what did
it's
you
the only
start
one.
the game on? I can't remember.
So I first started on a paladin, and then I think I got to like level 20, and somebody told me that hunters got pets, so I made a hunter, and then somewhere along the line I made a shaman, and I really don't remember why, but I've been a shaman ever since. So.
Okay. And Archie, same thing for you. Have you always been a warrior?
Yes, I rolled a paladin, actually. My first character was a warrior. I played it for a little while, and then I tried to pick up something else. I rolled a paladin in, I don't know, about December of 2004. I played it till I think level 20, and then I said, screw this, and I went back to my warrior.
Wow. Wow. Breaking my heart.
Oh my goodness.
Don't know if I can speak to you anymore. No, that's
You know what?
If
you still had to seal twist and reseal every time you judgment and everything else, you would abandon your rep paladin.
Well,
too.
that's coming back.
No, I completely understand. First of all, not every class is for every person. Second of all, I can see why if you've played a warrior, then switching to a paladin would not feel quite the same. So
Exactly.
And third, warriors are just better than paladins.
Oh wow.
Ooh, harsh.
Harsh.
That's okay. I'll let you have your wrong opinions. That's fine.
See, there you go. The back and forth.
Well, let's talk a little bit also about what you guys do for your respective communities. Like, I know, Tickle, you said that you were on Totem Spot quite a bit. Is that where we could have found your posting, or do we mostly see you on SentryTotem these days, or are you on MMOC?
I used to post a lot more on the forums, especially on the official forums and then some on MMOC.
Mm-hmm.
As I'm sure you guys all know, I tried to do some theory crafting on Totem Spot a while back, and it didn't really go down as well as I think I'd hoped that it would. I still maintain what I said back then, but as the expansion has gone on, Mastery has definitely pulled ahead, and I'll give that to Leeds. Like he was right about it in the end. So
I don't know if you really need to
don't give him any credit.
More than that.
Okay, more credit. But anyway, I'm handing things back to Bingenstein. Like I technically still manage the website, and I'm fine doing that. It's not a problem at all. But I'm gonna let him do all the mathy stuff because he's just way better at it. So, and I know he's getting back into it. He took a break for a while, which is why I got control of Totem Spot, because I know he just didn't want to do it anymore for a little while there. But he's getting back into it, and I'm totally happy to let him do that because he's just way better at it.
You're still going to maintain like moderatorship or ownership of the website, though, right? He's just doing theory crafting. Fair enough. Respect that.
Makes sense.
And Archie, what about you? What about your theory crafting for the warrior community?
Well, most of what I do is centered on the MMO Champion forums. Anybody who's visited there can see me posting all the time, pretty much. I'm involved in every discussion, usually involved in some sort of long-winded argument with somebody about something or other. People want to bring Rend back or, whatever asinine idea they come up with. But you can usually find me arguing on there. Most of the theory crafting, however, is not just done by me. We have a whole group of warriors that I talk to in Skype who all work together. It's kind of like our own little mini Acarus, although we don't have a ton of people in there. I think right now we have about 10 or 12 in there that really do all the legwork, and then we write everything up and post it out once we're satisfied with it. I find it's a little bit easier to keep the content flowing that way.
So now, do you like cross-link your SentryTotem stuff to your MMOC stuff, or you keep it separate?
No, I keep everything together. I don't believe in just having one sole area to find information. I think if both communities have information, then they'll work a lot better together.
Gotcha. And I guess because the content that you put on, like I'm bringing up your page again here on SentryTotem, is much more focused on certain things. Whereas, say, on like the forums on MMOC, it's just like a willy-nilly, tons of different stuff all the time. Right?
Yeah, it's a lot easier when you're writing up a post to keep everything centered on one topic. I might write up a post on gladiators, the new level 100 protection talent.
Right.
But then on MMOC, the conversations are constantly evolving, and you've got, we have 100-page threads on there. It's impossible to find the information you're actually looking for unless something gets stickied. So I think they both work in their own right for different things.
Right, because even on this specifically, you actually have your alpha arms only post, right, that breaks down just the arms warrior part of the spec. So, are you going to be also doing, obviously revamping stuff when the changes come through? Are you going to be doing ones for Fury and Gladiator as well? Because I would assume that you guys would actually be having to kind of go into Gladiator because it is a DPS role, correct?
Yes, I already have a Gladiator post on there already. That ARMS post was done on the last version of ARMS on the alpha. It's changed massively. Hearing that, hey, warriors aren't done, bear in mind, stuff's still going to change. So I'm kind of hesitant to post out another one that might just change again in a week.
True.
The last I heard, we're going to have some more changes in the next alpha build. So I kind of want to pace it and make sure I'm not constantly rewriting myself. Which, again, that MMO Champion forum base is somewhere you can do that. You can put out your impressions, but you don't necessarily want to put it into a big blog post until you're ready.
Yeah, that's true. I guess you kind of got to like really kind of fine tune it before you want to get up there. I mean, you got to keep going with alpha stuff and beta things because stuff keeps changing, but then making posts about sort of catalogs what was, and then when you can look at what is, you can see what has really changed. If spells are removed, if rage costs change, like Mortal Strike right now is not a builder for you anymore. It's a spender, which it's been a builder now for what, 2 expansions?
Yep.
So big kind of crazy stuff right now with Warriors. When I did my every class, every talent set on the alpha like a week ago now. That's the one thing I saw. I was like, not much change. I smoothed some things out, but then I saw the patch notes and everything is like, what? What is this? So lots of stuff changes. So it's a great little place to go over there. And this is for almost every class has a little nook like this too. We obviously you're a warrior, but if you go to on SentryTotem the classes tab, and there are articles. There are articles in every single spec, right, Tickle?
I think we're missing a few in a couple of them, like protection paladins. We don't have anybody rating for yet.
Oh, okay.
And a few others, but it's something I'm working on for sure.
Yeah. And then you got to add another tab down here for Gladiator Warrior. There's nothing here right now. Where's that? Where's that button?
I'm actually planning on doing a complete revamp of some of the navigation, so that will be changing.
Oh, okay.
You should see my post on gladiators underneath protection now.
Oh, I should? What was your initial thoughts? I guess with a little tangent here. Oh, yeah, there it is.
Small tangent.
Gladiators are great. The playstyle's really fun. It's pretty much the same playstyle Prot has right now, except with the focus on dealing damage with the abilities instead, which makes it a little more rotational, and you don't have to pool rage for active mitigation or anything. It's got a really meaty feel to it. It plays a lot like Fury does on live, which is a great selling point, especially since they seem insistent on butchering Fury on live with the new alpha changes. So hopefully they won't change it up too much because it feels really good, very solid right now.
I see.
And it's just a lot of fun.
Is a great adjective for a warrior spec.
What did he say?
A meaty feel.
Meaty feel. Ah, yes.
I just got this like image of just like clunk, like hitting something with a big sword and shield, which is kind of the idea.
Right, of Gladiator, exactly.
Well, when a gladiator smacks you in the face with his shield, you don't talk back.
No, interesting. We'll have to see if you and Sari pick up the shield and leave the two-hander behind. We'll have to really see, because I know that Celestalon said they want it to be a competitive spec, but it is basically like making warriors like druids now. I wonder if this is a test bed, and in the next expansion you'll actually get a fourth spec. Mm-hmm.
Well, if you read through that post, I hit on that same thing, and I think they definitely have the groundwork there to do it. So we'll see if it works out.
We will. So I'm going to bounce into the creation of SentryTotem now, and where this whole thing, like, when did it spawn? Like, how did this happen? Because I know I talked to Tickle you months ago, and about you like putting together this little thing on the side, and you were working on something, and you like this little community project dilly dally. I didn't know much about it until like all of a sudden, this thing just pops up out of nowhere. So in the beginning, Tickle, what is SentryTotem, and why does it exist?
Okay, so it's kind of a long, convoluted answer, but I guess that's what I'm here for. So why it exists? Initially, I'd had an idea a long time ago, like 6 or 7 months ago. I don't remember when. Of attempting to make kind of an automated feedback website where it would go through your logs and compare you to other people in your spec, and basically try to tell you where you were doing things right, where you're doing things wrong. But then I was like, I don't think I have the skills for that, and I'm sure that the actual logging websites like Warcraft logs, World of Logs could do that better. And as far as I'm aware, some of them actually are working on that now, which is pretty cool. At the same time, though, I think there's something to be said about getting like actual one-on-one personal advice from somebody, because those automated ones aren't always going to give you like all the little nitty-gritty things that are like the good tricks you can do or whatever. So I think it's nice to have somebody to actually go to. And then at some point I heard that somebody else was making a website where they were going to charge people for that, which, I mean, if that works for them, fine. But yeah, so something seemed off about that, though. I'm like, why should you have to pay to get advice from people? I mean, I know some people out there do actually charge for, like, you can get one-on-one tutoring with people and they charge for them. That's fine. But like, why should every single person have to pay for that? Why can't you go to somebody for free and get some advice for free? And that's kind of where I got the advice for, or the idea for SentryTotem. I'm like, I can do this. This is something I can do. I can find people. I know enough people that could cover every single spec and give really good advice to people and be willing to do it for free. And so that's kind of where that started. And there is some incentive for the people doing it because they can get tipped. And initially I was paying people, but that kind of went out the window when I realized how popular it was becoming. And I was like, I can't afford to keep paying people for this. So they're going to work for tips only. But people tip and they're really happy with it. And it's worked out really well. So yeah. Okay, so when I first made the site, no, I'm not going to go into money amounts, but I'll give you an idea of how successful it's been. When I first made the site, I kind of expected to get maybe 50 help tickets in the first month. We got 400 something in the first month. So, yeah. Yeah. So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, was I muted?
Faye,
Oh,
you're
weird.
muted.
Weird. Oh, all I said was that's pretty awesome that you got 400 in the first 50 and you wanted only 50. Yeah, that's weird. How did I beat myself? What did I touch? Oh well, whatever.
Wow.
Got
well,
it.
Just going back to the beginning of the project then. So would you say I've known a lot of people who've started small businesses just because of the work that I do. Would you say that you thought you could do this better than the competing options, or did you think that there was a hole that you were trying to fill with SentryTotem?
A little bit of both.
A little bit of both?
The fact that I thought that doing it for free would be better.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't think
Definitely.
it would be like, if you can do it for free, you might as well do it for free because that's better than having to pay for it. And I also did feel that there was a hole. There was something like you can go to the forums and ask for help, but a lot of people are afraid to do that because they'll get made fun of. Like you make a post on the forum saying, I don't know what I'm doing. And people are going to be like, oh, your gear is crappy. You're terrible. What are you doing? You're reforging. It's all wrong. And they make you feel bad. So I felt that having a place where you could go and not get that kind of crappy feedback would be, I don't know, something people might like.
And the personal interaction with the top players, I think, that you just brought up is a really good point, because we have every single person we bring on this show will generally say something like, ask me questions, come ask me questions, I'll totally help you out. All of the players that we've had here have been really welcoming to people in the community, but there's the question of how do you actually get to those people? Do you tweet them? Do you PM them on MMOC? And your website provides sort of a central location for people who are top players to help people out and say, here, message me here, ask me your questions, and I'll help you in an organized fashion.
Exactly.
Yeah,
and it's also a good place for people who don't even know who to ask. So they just come there and they'll get a response from somebody, even if they don't know who it is.
Right.
Interesting. Yeah, that's sort of what another really huge game has been doing with a website that's called LOL Class is what it is, where you can basically, that's pay to like seat yourself, sort of, because that game's a totally different beast than World of Warcraft, right? But in the same regard, you get that one-on-one time in like a classroom setting as you would, because there's more people that want to go after that. But this is like the first time I've ever heard about something like this organized in the World of Warcraft style, especially because now we had like the first whole expansion with LFR, and now with the new raid tier setting, and obviously like going to 30 players and the whole flexible stuff during that way, more people, even than now, might be doing raiding. And if they want to seek out resources, there's tons out there, and they're kind of like scary because there's just lots. I feel like having a pinpointed location, and especially outside that forum realm, because that could be a little bit jaunty and like, you know, assaulting at some points. That's a really great asset to have to work towards, is this what SentryTotem has. So absolutely. And
so you talked a little bit, Tickle, about how immensely popular it was in its very first month, like way more than your projections. How has it gone since then? Also, what month, like when did you start SentryTotem? When is the official start of this project?
So the site officially launched March 30th. So the first month I'm counting basically all of April. And it's been really steady since then. Sometimes we'll see spikes, but it's been pretty steady since then. So about that many tickets every month.
Wow,
that's wild.
Yeah.
So definitely a lot of interest, especially considering how far we are into this content patch. That's just amazing. I can't imagine what it's going to be like as Warlords kind of ramps up into production and we all start going into all of the new stuff. It's going to be an incredible resource for the community.
No, absolutely. It totally is. Well, this brings up our first little question comes over here. You can answer the question, and I'm going to pull it up on the Q&A panel here. Go for it.
Oh, you mean I should ask the question?
Yeah, you go for it.
You said answer, and I was like, well, I don't think that I could do that.
I get the answer for the question. Yeah, there you go. Sorry.
Yep. So we have a question from Athosian from Draenor in an EU server, and he asks, what has been the most challenging factor in authoring a website such as SentryTotem? It sounds like
really good
that's a question for you, Tickle.
Yeah. Making it do everything that I want it to do in such a way that people can access everything. So like I said earlier, I'm planning on redoing the navigation. There are actually a lot of things that I'm planning on redoing that I'm kind of working on at the moment, just because the idea that I had initially for how it would be set up worked for a while, but it's getting to the point where it's kind of hard to find things. Like some of the articles, they're not exactly where you'd think they would be. So some of that's been difficult. Also, like I said, it's been way more popular than I thought it would be. And I started it with the whole idea that maybe we would be paying people, something like that. And it's just, you don't always know where it's going to go when you first start something like that. So it's just been, what do I do with it? All right, it's kind of evolving. So it's been challenging in that respect.
Wow, so that's two completely different things that you brought up there. First of all, it sounds like you've struggled with, I wouldn't say website design because the design is really clear, but like navigation and organization of such a huge amount of information, you would say? Cool. Well, I guess we'll all look forward to seeing the website when you've changed some of these things that you'd like to improve, because it's already pretty cool right now, but you were talking about how you'd like to change some stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I totally understand, like, especially making a community or trying to make something new in such a game like this, in the community such as this, just a worldwide scale. I sort of feel like we have the same sort of starting point right now, because we're just a year old now. Our year anniversary for Final Boss was actually just 2 weekends ago. So, and within that first year, I didn't sit down with, the crew beforehand, or like even when Anna came on and be like, in a couple months we're going to interview Blizzard twice. Just be ready for that. Like, I had no idea we'd be at that level right now. But I mean, it really comes back down, of course, to the community and people that are involved. The players that submit tickets may be, I don't want to say like out of their comfort zone doing that kind of thing. Maybe more people it could be like, that's the first time I've ever done it before. Like, I'm a first time this class. How do I do this? But creating something new and stepping forward into that all comes down from like you guys, right? Like, all comes from chat room right now. It's every person that talks about these communities or wants to be a part of it. When we had the open raid spot a couple of weeks ago now, I had people that tweeted me saying, I never heard of this before, and thank you for talking about it, because we didn't know it existed. And it's a great resource for people. So I think that those sort of things really stand out, and especially going into a huge new expansion right now and this huge lull we have between them, it's a great time to find these communities and build new relationships with people online and friends and learn stuff when so much is changing. So it's super awesome. I mean, thank you guys all for being really, really awesome about that stuff. And as I say on the live stream, you're pretty cute, just a little bit. Yeah. So to switch this over to Archie now, I'm talking to Tickle this whole time. So what is a staff expert, and why are you one? And then you can go into a little more detail about what you do on SentryTotem. I know you prefaced it early on, but give us like the whole kit and caboodle, Archie.
Yeah, no problem. Well, being a class expert is primarily for the audit system. I am one of the people who's known and recognized as an expert on warriors. Anybody who's read my writing or seen the things that I've done can attest to that. Part of it comes from rankings, but not everybody who ranks is an expert, and not everybody who doesn't rank is not an expert. It's all about the knowledge of the class. With that, the first thing I do is the class audits. I'll get a ticket, and then I will be able to go in and talk to another player one-on-one without any judgment or anything, because it can be hard for some people sometimes to admit they want help, which is why every MMO champion forum has these help fix my DPS threads, but not everybody likes to post on those things, and you never really know what kind of help you're going to get anyways. So with this system, they know who they're talking to, I know who I'm talking to, and it's all private. With that, I get their logs and their armory, and I can go through, see what they're doing right and what they need to improve upon. And then it can go back and forth for a day, a single reply, or I've had some that are continuing. I've got 20 replies on some of them, just because the players constantly are trying to improve, and they'll give me new logs, say, hey, how did I do this week? So it can be pretty fun. We've gotten quite a lot of tickets so far as well. I can't speak for every class, but I know DPS Warriors this month have had about 40 or so tickets. So it's definitely a popular system.
No, absolutely. I just brought up again, going back to the website, of course, the actual page you click on for this auditing system. So you go to the Help Me button right up here by the home, and this is the page you will then see where you could submit a request. And I assume viewing your request is after you've actually logged in and created your SentryTotem account, and you can see your back and forth, your little thread you create with an expert. Is that what I?
Yeah.
Okay. That's pretty awesome. It's pretty simple, though. Like, really, it is. There's no other way to actually see who is submitting outside of the account that creates it and the expert, correct? Like, no one sees it anywhere? It doesn't pop up on any forums or nothing?
Right. No, they're completely blocked and private to the person who submitted, the person who's helping them, and then I can see all of them, but that's just because I'm the administrator, so.
Right. Fair enough. So then what, I guess, outside of the audits and things then, Archie, what are your additional things you do for SentryTotem?
Well, past that, I also do my writing, which I've already spoken about.
Right.
Which is just me trying to write about whatever I think can help the community. And, like I said, I don't focus on just what are my thoughts about Warriors this week. I could talk about that if I wanted to, but it doesn't really help anybody else but me. So I try to write about Warcraft logs, or I have one post on there called Pulling Together, which is mostly about just working as a team and not being a jerk to the people you play with just because you can. Just because it's the internet. After that, really, I just try to help out wherever I can. I've been doing a lot trying to promote the site, trying to bring other people into the community, and doing the raid clinics. It's all a lot of fun, really.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I guess not to like paint a target on anybody though, but are there different levels of involvement from different experts? Because you have a lot on here. I'm going to bring up the expert page real quick, and we'll roll down through it. And like, what is your take on that? Like, do you know a lot of the other staff members, the experts, Archie? Like, do you all like kind of have different, like, do you all communicate about things, or you really just like keep it with your own class?
Well, we do have a little bit of collaboration across classes. It depends upon what for, though. We have our own forums inside of the SentryTotem for the contributors, so we can talk about things. For example, Kern and I discussed a little bit when writing the guild leadership style things, but those articles are much better than mine, so I'm perfectly happy to take a back seat there. From that, a lot of the other class experts help with the raid clinics as well, and I know they do a lot promoting the site too. But the best thing about SentryTotem is it's one of those things where everybody can put in what they want. There is no required amount of involvement. It is all really as long as you can get tickets done, and if you're a writer, you can put out articles on a pretty timely basis. You really only have to get involved as much as you want or as much as you have time for.
Right. I'm still scrolling through this list of all the experts right now, and it's funny to see also like how many of these players have actually been on the show, which I think is awesome, and how many players have actually never actually heard of before, which is also really cool, that there are just so many more people out there that are really involved in this sort of like player assistance and theory crafting and stuff for all these different classes, because there's definitely a lot out there. You also have people that are like not necessarily experts, but you also have writers. Do you want to touch on any like your extra writers that do more content for the website, Tickle?
Sure. I'm not going to go into a whole lot of detail about any specific one, but we definitely have some people who contribute a lot more than others. I will mention that Kern publishes 2 times a week, and I have actually given her a promotion because of that, because she's really good about getting her content out, and she writes really good articles. So she doesn't even have to get her work approved through me. It just, when she wants to publish it, she can publish it because she's amazing. Kern is awesome. You guys should all follow her.
Definitely.
Then we have some other people who've written a few things here and there. They do some tickets, but they don't necessarily get a lot, and that's totally fine. Obviously, they'll get busier as we get more tickets. But like Archie said, you can basically choose how much you want to contribute. Then we also have people who are just involved in every respect. Like Mendenbar has been super awesome about, not only does he promote the site everywhere, he gets a ton of tickets because of it. We get a ton of DK tickets. But he's also been really helpful with like the raid clinics, just everything. So. Gosh,
Mendenbar, geez, get that shout out though.
So it sounds like the DK community and SentryTotem have a bit of a close relationship there then?
I guess so, yeah.
We can just blame Magdalena for that.
Yeah, exactly.
That's
Magdalena also does stuff for the site.
Yep. Nope. Saw him on there too.
Yep.
So I guess then, if you want to take us to through the features, Anna, because I'm gonna have to go on the website a lot and like click on things. So navigate us through that with them, and I will be doing all the clicking.
I see. Well, it looks like the one of the first features that we'd like to talk about is you have a help me feature, and I guess Bay, I can't really see what you're doing there, but you can navigate to there. Can you talk a little bit about how player audits are conducted and basically what people who are seeking help would do on the website, and then how it would go on behind the scenes?
Sure. So if you're seeking help, you obviously need to create an account before you can submit a ticket. I'm considering making it so you don't need an account, but it gets a little bit weird with trying to retrieve your tickets if you don't have one. So you create an account, which you can do up in the top right of the page if you want to show that. I don't know if you can. And then once you... I'll let him show that real quick.
Nope, yeah, we're good. Oh, that's the wrong thing. Oops. Clicking on all types of stuff. All right,
Okay, so you create your account, and then you go to the Help Me page, and you click Submit a Ticket. And on that page, you'll get a section where you can enter in kind of a subject for it if it's something you want to highlight that you're worried about. You include your Armory link, a logs link if you have it, and then kind of go into detail about the problem that you're having if there's something specific, or you can just be like, just help me because I don't know what I'm doing, and that's totally fine. Once that happens, it gets assigned to somebody. Right now it's auto-assigned. I'm working on a new ticket system though, just because it hasn't been working out as well as I'd like for it to be with the auto-assign. But right now it's auto-assigned, and it'll go to somebody for your class and spec, and then they get an email saying, hey, you have a ticket. And then they can go on and see the armory, see the logs, all of that, and kind of give you feedback. And it stays open until one of you closes it.
Now, how long, I guess, to go into how... Do you actually do tickets yourself, Tickle, or no, you just all the experts do?
I have done a couple. I kind of try to stay out of it just because I feel like I don't want to be hogging them.
Right. Okay.
But it's something that I might have to do more of as a new expansion comes out when we get a little bit busier.
Sure. So then, Archie, how long does it say that your what's your shortest ticket, and what's been your longest ticket so far, without naming names, just to give us a spectrum of how much you've done on these?
Well, it really depends on what the ticket is for. You know, not all audits are as simple as what am I doing wrong or how can I improve my DPS. I've had tickets asking for advice with raid strategies, simple tips and tricks for maximizing certain bosses, you know, am I reforging correctly, or clarification on using some wonky abilities like Blade Storm for single target. I even had one guy who wanted to know the pros and cons of leaving his guild of close personal friends and moving to a more hardcore raiding atmosphere. So some of them can be longer than others. I think my longest ticket, like I said, I get kind of detailed when I write, was about 7 pages.
Yeah.
Wow.
So he just kind of typed up a novel to this player, right?
And that's even better because I've seen some of Tickle's like internal things where she's talked about how it should be, you know, you shouldn't have to spend too much time on these tickets, and like it should be brief, and it's great. Just wonderful.
Well, it all depends upon how much help they need.
Sure.
Yeah.
You know, and what they are looking for. And like I said, I've had some tickets where I've had tickets from really progressed players. I had a ticket the other day from a player who was 586 item level and 13 out of 14 heroic, I think. It just wanted clarification on what they were doing, or, you know, making sure they were right. You know, not even so much that they were doing anything wrong. They just want to make sure they were doing it right. They wanted somebody to tell them, hey, this is good, this is bad. I've had others from players who had never rated even normal mode. They had flex logs or LFR logs, and they were just looking to improve themselves before taking that next step. So I'll give you as much help as you need, really.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty amazing. That's awesome. I just didn't know there's such a huge different, like, back and forth. Like, some can be really, really simple, but then 7 pages on another one. So
I have one ticket open right now that's been open for a month. The guy who opened it just really involved, and I can't send a reply back to him without getting another email 10 minutes later saying he's posted a new reply, and I think it's got about 20 posts on that ticket right now.
That's pretty awesome, though.
It's definitely got some ongoing. Yeah, exactly.
And when you end up interacting with a lot of people, then I imagine that some of them need very different levels of assistance. Like some of them, you're going to discuss some intricate point of warrior, and some of the rest of them would prefer like a bullet point type of short explanation. So it's good to hear that the kinds of help that you're giving people varies according to the person.
No, absolutely. And to kind of go back on that whole thing too, is like you can go to websites and read through like a post or a giant blog post about one spec of a class or a class in general or whatnot. But sometimes just like sifting through a giant, you know, document sometimes doesn't work for people. People learn and adapt information to themselves differently. So talking to another person just could be the avenue for them.
Yep. Especially since one of the reasons why a site like this is so useful is because a lot of those long guides are very intimidating, and it's hard to pull out the information you need. But kind of speaking of guides, I'd like for you to say a little bit more about the kinds of news that you have on the front page, because that's another really big feature of the website that I know we wanted to go into. And you've mentioned that there are class experts who write. You've mentioned that Kern has a lot on there about guild leadership. Could you name a couple examples, other examples of things that we'd be likely to see on the main page from some of your contributors?
Sure. So we do have a lot of people in the alpha right now, or I guess it's beta now.
Yeah.
So we have a lot of people in it, and they've been kind of writing about their thoughts with it. So that's something you'll see, especially throughout the beta as things change. People will be writing more. We had a lot of those early impression articles when the alpha first came out, and the alpha patch notes first came out, of people saying, "Oh, this is going to be good. This is going to be bad." So, like for example, Mist and Nair and just all sorts of other people writing their impressions on their class and spec. And you'll see a lot more of that throughout the beta. When we actually get into the new expansion, it's probably going to change a little bit. It'll be less about what we can expect and more, this is how things are right now. Maybe here's some tips for optimizing your damage or optimizing your healing, or some raid strategy suggestions, things like that, things that you deal with on a more day-to-day basis. We also do plan to have some guides and things before the expansion actually comes out. We just haven't got to those yet. So.
Yeah, and guides, of course, are something that would probably make a little more sense when things are more set in stone.
Yeah.
But it's good to know that we can look forward to those.
But yeah, I'm just looking through the alpha section right now, I guess from the posts you have, and you had like you had warrior stuff, you had mage, you had priest, you got arms again there. So there's definitely a lot. And this is, of course, only a couple months in. So I can only imagine as we get deeper into the beta testing phase, and then of course when the game launches, when like dungeon content comes out, people get real logs from things. There's going to be a huge influx of just like all this. So good luck to you, Tickle. All that work you're going to do.
There's a lot to do.
But yeah, but it's exciting.
One of the things I'd point out for people who maybe missed the beginning of the show is that the how to use Warcraft logs that it sounded like Archie was working on also sounds like just a really cool.
Oh yeah, I actually had that right now. Let me go back to that. I closed it because I actually thought that was an interesting post too. I mean, it's just the way of the times. World of Logs has been around for a very long time, and they definitely did a great job, but they just it's not updated anymore. It's just kind of archaic. So if you actually go right here to Warcraft Logs introduction, is it the introduction one, or you have two? Yeah. So the introduction.
Bring in a series of them.
Because I know so many people on the forums are just like, oh, go check your logs, and then but. Player who's trying to get more and more into raiding, and you're smart and you know what you're doing, but you just don't have the tools available to you to understand the information. Something like that could be very helpful.
Exactly.
So
you go through all the different types of situations you can go through, and like this is the basic one, and then you've got one more over here too that talks about guilds and logging, which digs more into how to log as your guild, how to sort things, create guilds. Yep.
It's a multi-part series. The first part is really just breaking down what Warcraft Logs is and what's changed between World of Logs, how it became, well, frankly, better than World of Logs, what it does better, how World of Logs fail and kind of fell off the wagon. The second part is going a little more in depth. Okay, so how do you log? What do I need to do to get my guild set up on there? What do I need to run? How do I do it? And then the third part, and maybe even fourth part, is coming soon. It's not up there yet, just because it got a lot longer than I planned, because there's so much to talk about, is really reading the logs. What does all this information tell me? Because especially, even if you're already familiar with World of Logs, Warcraft Logs is a very different beast. It's very confusing at first glance with all these lines and graphs and craziness. So having a little guide to help you out, I think will benefit a lot of people.
No, absolutely. Now, have you actually talked to the War of Logs folks about like having that, like, are you making
Folks,
like
you say that as though there's more than one. Have you spoken to Kira?
Have you talked to, is Kira aware of that? No. Have you talked to him about how to like making this guide like an official thing that maybe like their website would have for new players as well? So that if you actually go to, because people can talk about the website all the time, but if they go there and they go like, oh my god, you know, they get the huge wide eyes what to do. Maybe even making it, this is more work, of course. This is my idea for you. The first one's free. Making almost like a video tutorial about you going through the steps live with like narration for people.
I haven't talked to Kira, officially about it.
Right.
I know he's aware of it. We talked a little bit through like Twitter and stuff. But if people are happy with the guides, I could definitely make something tailored specifically for the website, step by step. This project was really just, it kind of evolved into a lot bigger than I originally thought it would be.
Sure. Just
to get people familiarized with it. I know there's a couple mini guides already on the Warcraft Logs forums, but you know, if mine is good, I'm definitely up for making something targeted for them.
Well, steering us back around to something more general.
Oh, did you have did Tickle have something more?
Sorry,
Yeah,
Tickle.
I was gonna jump in. Somebody said in chat they'd like to see different class experts writing articles about what to look for. We do actually have a priest kind of column going right now about that, and it would be nice to see some of the other writers do that as well. But there are some articles on what to look for in priest healing in your logs. So you should check those out if you're a priest.
Okay. And I guess before Anna moves us along too, we didn't talk about this at all. I don't have this in the notes anywhere. If you want to actually be a part of the staff experts, is there a way to go about that if people out there are like prolific theory crafters that might like only be forum junkies? Like, how would they get into doing that? What's the process? Because I'm still looking for certain classes still. The mage looked a little light. Mage, little light there.
So there's a link down on the footer titled Be an Expert, and then I think there's also a Write for Us one. You can fill that out and send it in. I'm a little bit behind on getting back to people just because I've been out of town and catching up on other things. So I know I have some people I need to get back to. But yeah, if you want to be an expert, if you think that you're qualified to be an expert, absolutely submit something and I'll look it over.
Yep. Here's your expectations and how to apply and everything. Yep, right there. It's kind of hidden. That's why I wanted to bring it up, because it's only on the very bottom footer. So, okay. Perfect. Very awesome. And Anna, go.
Yes. Well, I was just going to sort of sum up all of this because the question started by asking what kind of content we see on the news page. I know that when your website was first starting out, a lot of us sort of looked at your scope and said, oh my gosh, she's trying to do so much stuff. This is going to be really epic if it succeeds. Is there anything sort of that you've shied away from on the main site, or are your news posts pretty much everything and everything? Do you do like current events in WoW? Do you do like WoW news?
So I've been intending to actually do some own I can't even talk right now. Some writing of my own about WoW news and current events, things that other writers aren't actually writing about. Something I am trying to shy away from a little bit is anything political, just because we've kind of seen that go down some weird paths. And as much as I might express some of my views on Twitter, I want to avoid that on the website. But otherwise, current events, all that sorts of stuff, yeah, that'll be on there at some point if it's not already.
I completely understand. It's definitely something where I've thought to myself, well, I can be as ragey as I want on Twitter, but I'm not going to put all of it on the show.
Yeah.
Right, of course.
Yeah.
Even though for some reason the YouTube comments always come back around like, Anna, why do you blah? So
yeah, I know. Well,
some of them.
But that's understandable. But the news portion of the website is just it's going to be a great place for people to be checking, along with when they're checking their MMOC and WoW Insider and Wowhead news pages and all of the places where you tend to get your WoW news from. Definitely keep an eye on just the front page of SentryTotem as well.
Yeah, it's still evolving, but it'll get there.
Yeah, you only got a couple months under your belt, so absolutely, I understand completely.
Well, should I move along to our next topic, Bay?
I want to kind of ask this goofy question.
Go for it.
And then we can ask that because it sort of prefaces this. And this, to be honest, so I'm just going to bring this up right now because when this was brought in as an Ask a Boss, this is from Audits on Greymane. The question was, have you heard anything positive coming for the in-game voice chat in World of Warcraft? Now, my first thought was that I remember the awful patch that happened, that everything didn't work and it broke, everything was laggy. But that's still in the game? He says with random expiration points above his head. Like, is that really still in the game?
I think so. I don't know.
I wasn't.
It is still in the game. I don't think it's really going to go anywhere, to be perfectly frank.
I doubt it.
Right.
It was a good idea when they introduced it, but unfortunately it didn't really get the support it needed. The server that they use, or whatever they use, is not very high quality at all.
Right.
And unless they really put a lot of resources into making it high quality, nobody's going to use it over all the different mumbles and vents and even team speaks that you can get. So I really doubt we're going to see too much come out of that. They'd simply have better things to invest their time in.
I heard a really cool rumor about something that we could be seeing there in the future with regard to Curse. And aren't they doing something like that for LOL?
Oh, Curse Voice?
Yeah, Curse Voice that will group you up with people who you're playing games with. Was it LOL or Dota?
It's League of Legends right now.
Okay, it's League of Legends right now.
Right.
But maybe we'll be seeing more things like that, third-party solutions in the future.
Interesting. I only brought that up and thought it was an actual question to use, not just trying to be like random and silly. But the next topic we bring up is something that I don't know if it's so much as a larger portion, especially so many more people are going to be raiding in Warlords. I really wonder, does everyone just like have mumbles or team speaks or whatever? Does anyone actually use the in-game voice? Because I think like to get together with new people, especially how like the grouping system is working, right? If you randomly queue and then you queue again with the same people, you get like that group, right? So would you use the in-game voice to like actually talk to people? Was that not a thing? That's why I was curious. So, but I don't know. But Anna, take us to the next topic, and I'll bring it up on the website.
Moving along to another really cool feature that SentryTotem offers, I wanted to hear a little bit from y'all about raid clinics. This is something that you guys have been doing, and I know they've been very popular and have really worked out well. So can you just explain them and tell us about them and what they are and how they've been going?
Sure. So it's not something that's really all over the website at all. I think we've got a post on it on our forum, but it's something we've been trying to do. We're teaching people because I know there are a lot of people out there who would love to get into more advanced rating, even flex or normal modes, and just haven't had the opportunity. And maybe that's because their eye level's too low and just people won't take them, and they don't really want to start their own group because they don't really know what they're doing. So they're kind of afraid to even do it. So we're doing these clinics where we're basically anybody can go. It doesn't matter what your gear is like. You could have just hit 90, not have any gear at all, and you can still come. And we're going through different sections of Flex, and we're explaining the fights, and we're making sure that everybody understands what they're supposed to be doing before we even start. And it's been going really well so far. So.
Very cool. And I know that's something that's really valuable to people, especially this late in a content patch where you generally see people looking for groups for Flex, and they're like, I require 14 of 14 heroic completion and like best in slot gear and legendary cloak for my Flex raid. And it's like, how are you supposed to get into raiding? So that sounds really cool.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And that's one thing that's also really interesting too, is that there are resources out there to read about all this stuff, but people learn differently. There are different types of way people ingest their information. And sitting there with you guys, like talking about the fights and explaining everything about them and doing that kind of stuff can be really helpful for people that are new to it or are joining the game at the first time. I mean, the boost to 90 is real right now. Players could have had friends for years that have never actually made it to max level. And now they just, they got the free boost by buying the new expansion. They paid for it. And they're like, what is this scary place with 24 other people? So, absolutely. No, I think it's really great. It totally is. And chat room was even exclaiming about it right now, too. People saying that the raid cleanups were great. That's awesome.
Now, how many of those have you done so far?
We've done about 4 or 5, I think, so far. We've got both Alliance and Horde, and we actually have another Alliance one, no, Horde one scheduled for this coming Thursday, I believe, and then an Alliance one for the following Sunday.
Yeah, are you trying to do them only going to be on U.S. servers, or are you going to actually have EU in the future?
So right now they're only US, but we do plan on actually expanding to that. It's more just getting enough volunteers signed up, because obviously we have to have the people in there who can sort of help carry the group a little bit,
Sure.
because we're running with people who are under geared, who don't really know what they're doing, and we don't want it to just be constant wipes because we don't have the support. So some of it's getting the volunteers, and I know we do have EU people who are interested. It's just a matter of actually setting it up. I don't have any EU characters, so that's something I'm going to work on so that we can actually get that going.
Well, maybe we can help out with that, because I know Final Boss has a big EU viewership. So you guys who are listening, I've seen at least one person in chat say while they're hearing this, "Hey, that sounds really cool, and I'd like to be involved in that." So keep this.
Website right there.
Yeah, it's on the website. It got linked. Mendenbar linked it, and I repeated it here.
Yep. So I guess I'll take a little quick break here to talk about some other things in the community, give you guys a little bit of a reprieve, as it were. Everyone can sit here and listen to me jibber jab for the next couple of minutes. Some other things you may have not known about in the community that you want to get that bookmark ready to go. If you've been around here, of course, you have heard of some of these things, but if not, they're new to you. If you're looking for some original WoW or other video game parodies, music videos, and original songs, you should go check out the awesome SentryTotem over on the YouTubes. She is awesome, honestly. Like, she's part of the huge side project we're working on right now that I have been directing and producing since February, which is still coming, by the way. It's still getting there. It's chugging along. She's also going to be part of the writing process for the huge War Crimes machinima that is being worked on by Noble and Noble and myself. So Latomi will be a part of that. But she's got lots of videos. They keep going and going and going. Lots of all these things. This Garrosh, this is a World of Warcraft parody on Gaston from Beauty and the Beast. Super good. Super good. We've also got the I Want My Gear Back was also very good. Where is the other one that I really, really like? Oh, there it is. We got that Lock Candy one down there. That's Machinima by Kaelis. Super good. But yeah, you guys like Machinima, if you like original songs, you go check out Latomi. She puts out a video every Friday. And then we also have our website. If you have missed any past episodes, if you want to listen to the show only in audio only, we have ourselves on iTunes, the website, and Stitcher. You can find us all on there. We put up all the audio stuff goes up a little later. We also have all of our episodes up on our website as well. Also, our YouTube and our Facebook and social links are down below the stream right now. So if you want to go check those out, and we've interviewed every single class and spec in the entire game so far. We've every single one. We've also had really fun episodes, of course, too. That's our Shaman episode. We have the BlizzCon live raid that I re-edited, of course. We had a big episode of announcements, and Anna got attacked by a shelf. Then we, of course, had just funny community ones. We had Noble on again with Open Raid Dairy and Brutal Static. I mean, we got tons. There's a Priest episode, our Blizzard interview with Ian Hasekostas. And then we've got more and more and more, and it keeps going and going. We had Matthew Rode on. Duck Sauce. There's more and more and more episodes. If you guys missed any, there's our other Blizzard interview with Zarm and Celestalon. So tons of great stuff right there, guys. Of course, our links are down below. And then, I got to switch away real quick, so I got to open this up real quick. I oopsie-daisied it earlier, but if you haven't heard about it already, July 20th, we have rounds 3 and 4 of this little thing you may have watched or seen live. It's on our YouTube as well. Just this little thing right here called World of Warcraft Trivial Pursuit with Alex and Laws of Fat Boss, Brutal Static, SentryTotem, myself and Anna, Elvine the Gold Making Mage, and Noble the Noble, the legend himself. Same teams. Got some upgrades, of course, coming to the viewer quality and sound that's going to be happening for the Trivial Pursuit. But July 20th, mark your calendar. We'll do 2 rounds, sort of the same format as we had last time. And I will then also link you guys to this stuff. There it is. Wait, no, maybe. I think so. We're getting there. We'll get there. But if you guys want to throw that around, mark those calendars. And we'll see you all there. We got some awesome giveaways and things to do. Should be a lot of fun. But that's enough out of me. And let's get back to SentryTotem stuff.
Yeah, hearing more from our guests. I have another topic for you guys that we'd love to hear more about. Let's talk about your future plans moving into Warlords of Draenor and beyond. Tickle, you should tell us a little bit about your end game goals with SentryTotem. Now that you've gotten the website going and you've got an idea of what its popularity is like and you're seeing the first kind of things that you're having to deal with, what are you working towards? And maybe give us a hint for any exciting things we should be looking forward to seeing.
I've already mentioned some of it, but I guess what we're working towards is being kind of one of the main sites that people go to when they're trying to learn how to play a class. Like, let's say you just pick up a brand new class you've never played before. We want you to come to SentryTotem, not only for the initial kind of learning how to play it with the guides, but also when you actually start playing it, what am I doing wrong? What am I doing right? Give me that feedback. So that's obviously the Help Me tickets for that, and then we'll have guides. We also plan on having raid strategy guides. So once progression starts, we already have somebody who's planning on contributing raid strategies during that progression race. So that's something we do plan on having as well.
Excellent. So strategies, it's because we haven't seen SentryTotem when there's been current content available.
Right.
So that's what we can expect when there's a new rating tier, top end strategies for new boss fights.
Yep.
Excellent. That sounds exciting. Now, how do you plan to tackle? Do you have any expansion plans for Warlords? Like, are you going to be scaling up at all? Do you have any plans to handle sort of what will absolutely be a larger quantity of people using the site?
Yeah, so that's something I am working on. Like I said, with the navigation, something that I'm kind of planning on restructuring that as well. I'm also working on a new ticket system that will handle large quantities a lot better. Because right now they just kind of are automatically assigned to people, and that doesn't always work the best because we have some people who are a little bit more involved than others. So it's going to be more of a free-for-all type grab thing where if there are tickets there for your class, you can do them. So when people are able to visit the site, they're able to do that. Which, when we end up with lots more tickets, I think that'll work better. Just because, as I said, some people are more involved. So some people might have a few hours that they can spend on it, whereas some people might just have a few minutes. And being able to tackle a lot more at once, I think, will come in a lot more handy. So that, as well as just handling the extra traffic. Like, I've already upgraded the servers a few times from you guys crashing the site.
We have. We have.
Done that. Yes.
What are you talking about?
What I expected at all. I really didn't expect to get that much traffic from you guys mentioning the site just once, and all of a sudden, bam, the site's down. So I've already upgraded the servers a few times for that to handle the load. And obviously, it's performing a lot better right now. So
excellent, man. That makes me feel good about our show, Bae. That's awesome.
The crashing websites.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
Excellent. Well, it'll be really fun to see how the website grows and deals with all of the increased interest, because I know, especially over the last year or two, it's always kind of sad to see pieces of the community change and people leave. And then it's really exciting when you see pieces of the community, like new things come into the community that are great resources. And SentryTotem is definitely something that everyone should have on their bookmarks bar coming into Warlords. Now, do you have anything... Can you tell us a little bit about, I guess, the raid clinics? Just we were talking about it before the commercial break. About how often do those happen, just to give people an idea of what they can be looking forward to in the near future?
So right now we're only doing them basically every other week, depending on what faction you are. So if you're an alliance, it'll be every other week for you. If it's horde, it's every other week for you. But really, they're every week for us.
Okay.
And right now they're kind of in the evening specific time, just because that's when I'm available. But my availability is kind of changing a little bit. And I know as more people get involved, we plan on having them more often. It'd be nice if we could have them during the day for people either EU or on Oceanic servers, on weekends, things like that. So the goal is to have them running kind of all the time so that no matter what your availability, you're able to sign up for them.
Okay, well that makes sense, and it does sound like you've already got quite a few going, because when you were talking
Right,
about
yeah.
it before, and you were saying that you wished you had more people involved, I was wondering how often they were happening, but every week is a
Yeah.
big deal.
Yeah.
Something else to keep in mind too is the more people that we can get involved, the more quote unquote WoW veterans that we can get to come and help out with these runs, the more we'll be able to do. Right now, we've had really good turnout from the SentryTotem personnel. As listening, but hey, I'm already 14 out of 14 heroic. I don't really need help. Come on in and give us a hand if you're interested in this project.
Yeah, and that's definitely something that our viewership especially can perhaps help you with, because we do have a lot of people watching the show who are the type of people who would be responding to these kinds of questions rather than asking them. And so why don't you just say a moment how people watching or listening can get involved? How should they contact you guys? You mentioned before people should go to the forums, Tickle?
So either the forums, we do have the forum on there, or they can use the contact forms that are linked in the footer,
Okay.
or you can just message me on Twitter or whatever. It really doesn't matter. But if you want to get involved in anything, whether it's being an expert, writing, helping out with the raid clinics, or even helping out with the website itself, like if you have a programming background, because I can only do so much.
Yeah, it sounds like a lot of work for one
Yeah.
person.
Yeah.
So any of that, like if you want to get involved in any capacity, keep in mind it's not, none of this is paying positions aside from the article writers. Article writers do get paid per article, but everything else is basically on a volunteer basis. Obviously, the
Excellent.
experts can get tips, and a lot of them do get tips on a regular basis, but it's completely volunteer basis right now.
Right.
Got it.
And that's almost sort of how it should be, though, because then that gives the passion to the project, right? Because if you're just paying people for their job, they'll only do, like, there's a weird mentality block with that, right?
Yeah.
But if you get people that just want to be a part of stuff like this, with this sort of community, then, like, then I guess you said, like, they get kickbacks for that sort of thing based on what they do. But that's the way to do it, is to keep the passion within the people that are doing these things. So that's awesome. Yeah.
Excellent. And Mendenbar just linked a specific forum topic that I'll make sure that we tweet out and such. So if people want to get involved with helping out, there's a forum topic on SentryTotem that's applicable there.
Now, I guess, too, to throw this over to Archie real quick, the same sort of topic. For you going into Warlords, is there anything really going to be changing, or that the experts are going to be doing differently or working on towards to better that experience going into the future? Or are you maybe thinking about doing, like a Google Hangout, like actual talking to players, or to keep it only text? Just like, because Patreon is like a big thing right nowadays with like content creators, and I wondered, like, they do all the Google Hangouts or Skype talks with like the people that donate a lot. But in this sort of one-on-one, would you ever take it to that next level, or maybe just future ideas maybe?
Well, it depends upon what's needed. I could definitely see taking it to voice-based. Some people respond better to that, and I have no problem with that. I'm always available to talk to people, whether it's in typing or a video guide, like was suggested for Warcraft logs, even would be a great idea.
Yep.
Going into Warlords, one of the biggest things that the class experts are going to be working on is, of course, class guides. We want to make sure to get those out ahead of time so that you're not already in the middle of the tier by the time you're figuring out how your class should best be played. So the theory crafters and the class experts, the guide writers, all those guys will have a lot of work doing to get that information out there. We definitely want SentryTotem to be an all-in-one spot that people can visit to get all the information and all the help they need, so you don't have to go to Icy Veins to learn how to play your class, and then go over to SentryTotem, make sure you're doing it right, and then go over to Fat Boss to learn how to do the fight, and that just starts to get really problematic. So we want to have one-stop shopping for everyone.
Got it.
That'd be awesome. Very, very good. Okay. Sounds good to me. So now, shifting gears a little bit, but obviously not like so far out there, because this obviously makes sense for everything we're talking about right now. Just to wrap up the end of the show here, is we're talking a little bit about the Warlords of Draenor. I guess it was alpha until Friday. It's the beta experience now. And we have a question that comes in to bring us up to speed on this. This question, of course, comes in from Mr. BC Walker. who's an awesome, always here viewer of the show and live stream stuff like that. He's a cool guy. He's the one that started doing the Reddit threads. I didn't know who is this doing this, but it's totally awesome. Mr. BC Walker on Twitter asks, what approach do you take while alpha or beta testing? Do you prepare an agenda before logging in and then tick off items as you go? Or do you leave yourself open to taking advantage of unexpected events? I'll go with Archie first, because I think you're in the alpha, you're in the beta now, correct?
Yes.
So, like, what do you do with this question?
Well, really, I don't really prepare too much of an agenda. I'm not that much of a preparer. I just kind of go in there and start playing around and see what I can discover. Writing things down, talking to the other warriors in my Skype group. I think I was the first warrior to actually get an alpha invite out of the other theory crafters that I talked to. So really, I just went in there and said, hey guys, what questions do we have? What do you want me to look for? And, I just started playing around and seeing what I could do and what I could figure out. What's broken? What's not interacting right? Oh, hey, Enrage doesn't, Berserker Rage doesn't enrage me anymore. They changed this. We realized that Wild Strike was doing a lot more damage than it was intended to, just by playing around. So logging helps. Even though there's no add-ons, we can still get damage numbers based on spell data, and Warrior Simcraft is very well maintained. So we don't really have a problem with the theory crafting right now.
Mm-hmm.
And Tickle, what do you do for the alpha beta stuff?
So I actually haven't been able to spend a lot of time in it yet, but when I do, it's usually I'll be looking at the things that I'm concerned about, spell changes and all that. I'll kind of investigate, play around with things a little bit, and I'll usually have kind of a little bit of a list of like, this is what I want to look at. But a lot of the time that I'm in there, I'll just kind of wing it, and half the time that's, can I stay online?
Well, yes, of course.
Because obviously we know how that works, but so it really just depends on how much time I have and how much I'm able to sit down and play around with things.
Sounds fair. And Anna, I don't know if you've actually done much testing yet. Have you?
Wow, putting me on the spot like that. My goodness.
I just ask. I don't know if you've been actually testing stuff right now.
I've been trying to put on an aura of actually knowing what I'm talking about with regard to the beta. But no, I have done very little alpha beta testing, and not to make any bitter comments, because this show is about positivity and support for the community. But frankly, there's nothing on the alpha right now that interests me at all. When there is PvE content to test, I'll be there and I'll be enthusiastic about it. Until then, I'm not interested.
Like there's only 2 of the 8 dungeons currently in the game right now, and one of them is like half done. The bosses don't even like work properly yet. So like it's getting there, right? Yeah. Like so it's definitely getting there, but
it's not even supposed to be that negative of a comment, As soon as WoW gives me something that I will be really interested in, I'll be right there and be very enthusiastic about it. And it's still fun to hear what other people are doing, and I've been watching your stream most of the time, as people have seen me in chat. I just haven't done a whole lot of it myself. My out of work time has been limited, and I've been playing perhaps another game. So
maybe. Well, I wanted to preface that because you have done some testing with me, of course.
Yes, I have.
Right now, we're waiting for the level 100 servers to come back up. If those of you that are new to the show tonight or whatever haven't seen that, I actually do a lot of live streaming of only World of Warcraft content on this channel. My personal channel is like other games and stuff like that now. But we did 8 nights, 9 now. The 9th night is going to be going up on this thread here on our front page. So I went through every class and spec. This is before the beta turned on, so some things have obviously changed. And looked at every class and spec on almost all of the talents that are obviously usable, the level 90 and down, to see what has changed, what's different, what looks different, the spell effects that look different, how does dot snapshotting work. That's actually a really cool part of the show that I did, that I showed how it actually works with Feral Druid, because Feral Druid was very dot snapshotty now, but it's not in the way Warlords is working. So if you want to watch any of those entire nights of streaming, then you can go over to FinalBoss.tv. It's on page 2. It's in the Warlords of Draenor alpha testing archive, where the only way to get to these links is to go to the website and click on the links to go to the highlights, which all 8 nights. Again, I'm going to add 9 to it shortly, and I have notes on each night on what I've. I think it's in 7. yeah, so 7, we do all 4 druid specs for hours. I put, it's the entire night stream, and we walk through everything of every single class. And I'm a total noob on all this stuff, but it's helping me a lot learn about what is changing in all the classes. But it was a really good and organic experience to like see from like a total like novice's eye on what is changing, and then rebuttal with chat room. It was super awesome to see like different names and different people talking whenever I was doing a different spec or a different class, because those players were then inputting stuff as I was going through their class and digging around and things. It changes now with the beta. Once the level 100 talents are more testable and the server is more stable, I'll be going back through and doing every class and spec with only exclusive content going through the 100 talents. So we can like see what it looks like, what it does, thoughts on it, rotational changes, like Shadow Priest can become an actual caster, not a dot caster now, which is a totally different gameplay style, right? So cool things like that. Night 9 actually is the entire Tanan Jungle Dark Portal Assault Suicide mission. It's like a really neat 6 hours. It was a lot of fun to see that first area of what we are all getting introduced and thrown into when Warlords comes out. So again, you can check that out on the website. Should be super fun. And on the YouTube page, there are some like funny little highlights and clips that I call the Alpha Boss, soon to be Beta Boss series. That are like there's funny things that happen. I've got 4 more to add to that. So that'll be coming out during this week. But that's all for you guys. But if you want more alpha and more beta testing and stuff like that, I want to do as much as I can for this. There's been an interesting thing with the first episode that I came out. I tested the footprint bug for half an hour. Because testing.
Because testing.
I thought it was a lot of fun.
The Blues appreciated it, Bay. Don't
Absolutely.
worry.
I think somebody tweeted about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, Celestial tweeted about it.
Mm-hmm. He tweeted to me about it. Yeah, real testing. And the one thing, too, is I've actually submitted, like, bug reports and tickets while on the live stream, and chat room was like, did he actually just do that? He just submitted a bug report on the beta? Like, people don't do that, apparently. Like, they don't actually submit all this information. So, like, I really want to get in there and test stuff. I'm not going to run around this quest and can kill things. Exactly. So.
Yeah, that's what I love, is the people who get all of this access and who sit around and they're like, oh, this is awesome, I'm going to have my fun. And then they don't like post any feedback about it in the beta forums or submit their bugs in game. And it's just like, why are you doing this? Like, what? This is you have this opportunity. If you're going to be testing, you might as well talk about what your experiences have been and provide the feedback that they're looking for. So.
Totally right. So a little bit of soapbox time. I'll give you both. We'll go with Tickle first, because I know Arch has a little bit to get it out there. Tickle, what are your current thoughts on Elemental? Are you gonna totally miss your not move while lightning bolting? Like, what do you think at first pass here for Elemental Shaman?
I'm glad Earthquake is gone.
Oh God, no! Are you really?
That's been a common thing.
I am. I was not happy with the whole improved chain lightning thing that was supposed to buff it, because it's a cast time, it's got a cooldown, you drop it, the tank moves the stuff away, and like, yeah, that's on your tank for moving the ads out of your Earthquake, but it's really annoying when that happens. And if half of your damage is based on the spell that you have to cast and place and wait on a cooldown, like that's not fun. It's clunky. It's always been clunky. I think they've been trying to make it better, but it's not going to happen. So getting rid of it makes me really, really happy. As far as cast while moving, I think it's something that's needed. I don't think we're quite there yet, because our options for movement are still a little bit limited, but it's kind of one of those, people feel differently about it, and I think it's
right.
We'll see where it goes. I'm just gonna leave it at that.
I mean, we're from I guess I am from back in the day when you couldn't cast while moving. You could do instance, but then this whole weird switch, like all the casters get all these different tools to cast while moving, mostly because of like the PvP changes, how the game was really changing and how fights were. But I think it would totally be a healthy thing for casters to get back in that mindset where you have tools for movement to plan and think about ahead of time. But then most of the time you have to plan, cast your spells. So
it's the kind of thing that's going to be really interesting to experience in a group environment. I mean, we can make some determinations of how it feels right now on a target dummy, but really you're just going to have to sit there and fight a boss for 8 minutes who makes you move around, and that's going to be the only time that you really have a good feel for what the changes do to your enjoyment of playing and of raiding.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Oh, the fighting a boss for 8 minutes part right now. I know, Bay, you've probably...
No, don't!
A little
No,
bit.
Tickle, don't say it! No!
Mana.
Ah, Mana. Yeah, elemental
running
shot.
out of
Mana.
mana in like
Oh,
3
that's right.
minutes.
The mana changes aren't
sub.
balanced
Yeah,
yet.
so
There are
I-
some classes that are mana negative in their
can't-
rotation.
Like I'm trying
we
to kill
are.
like rare mobs on the beta, and I run out of mana.
Yeah, it's a problem. Like I was just
Oh,
wailing
boy.
on a dummy, and literally 3 minutes in, like exactly 3 minutes, I'm out of mana. So they need to fix that, but I'm sure they're working on it. So
Yeah, it makes it a
Mhm.
little difficult to test extended things.
Indeed. All right, Archie, I'll give you some time here, sir. Let's get some warrior thoughts.
He's got a couple of complaints, I think.
couple? Just like-
Where do I even begin? I don't
I'm
know.
passing
Let
the
me-
rage mantle to you.
The
Let
rage
me try to
mantle.
do this without sounding too angry.
Well, that's fair. Get it out there, you know, to spread the
Let
awareness
it all
of the...
out. Let it
They
all
are-
out.
Yeah.
I don't know what the direction they're trying to take Warriors with is. And honest to God, I don't think they know where they're going with it.
Oh, no.
Where a lot of other classes you're hearing, oh, they're mostly done, they need a few tweaks, or we're fixing a few bugs. They keep saying, we're trying this with Warriors, we're trying that, we want to think about doing this. They really have no idea what they're doing right now, at least from what we've seen, and they're just changing things for the sake of changing them. Back in January, we heard that Fury was very well built, and it is. Anybody who's played it, especially at a high level, knows that it's one of the best made specs in the game right now. They said it's very well built, and we don't want to change much other than making haste better. They did make haste better.
Right.
Headlong Rush fixes everything. Now, 5 months later, they remove Heroic Strike, which is one of the biggest parts of our rotation. I mean, the rotation does not work, period, without it. And they just want to remove it. Fury is down to 7 or 8 buttons, including cooldowns, whereas other specs have twice that many.
I have 7
And-
buttons in my actual rotation, not including cooldowns. That's crazy.
Yeah, well, Enhancement Shamans have, I mean, if you count talents and everything else that you could potentially take,
Right.
you have 15 rotational buttons.
Yeah!
including
Oh,
cooldowns.
wait.
I have 7. And they're still talking about pruning abilities for me. Like, are you kidding me?
Really?
Windwalker monks, I think, have 33 abilities total. And Celestron the other day said that they were on the low side, but were in a good place. Warriors, I think, are down to 25 buttons total. And they're still pruning stuff from us. Aside from the fact that they're screwing with Fury, which is a perfectly well-built spec,
Right.
go over to arms. They wanted to change arms. I get that. The version we had on Mop worked, but it wasn't really the best. You know, it had a lot of conflicting abilities, and it didn't perform very well. So I'm okay with them trying to fix it. A lot of people are happy they're trying to fix it. They wanted to go to the slow, heavy-hitting spec, which sounds neat, but that's not really the way WoW is played. So it is kind of new. So what they do to get this slow, heavy feeling is they introduce a lot of GCD downtime. The arm spec is literally down to 4 buttons. Mortal Strike, which is now a spender. Colossus Smash, which is now a spender. Whirlwind, which I don't know how the hell got mixed into arms, because that's always been a Fury button.
Right.
And Execute, which at the time of my earlier writing on Alpha Arms, you could use it above 20% anytime, make it a little different from Fury. Well, now it's back to being an actual Execute sub 20%.
Are you only building rage off of auto attacks?
Yes. You build 25 rage off of each auto attack swing, unless it crits and you'll get 50 rage.
What?
Well, with a two-hander, you swing just maybe every 3.4 seconds or so. My GCD is 1.5 seconds long. Every ability I have costs 30 rage to use. So you're telling me it takes longer than 2 GCDs to get enough rage to use one GCD's worth of ability? It's ridiculous. It's completely ridiculous.
That's weird.
We have literally 50% downtime.
Wow. 50%?
Just open GCDs that we can't use. Yes. We simmed it all out. And Warrior Simcraft is very well maintained. And we have 50% downtime. In a 400-second sim, we had, I think, 205 seconds downtime. It just couldn't do anything. It's actually a DPS increase to walk out of range and charge back in for more rage.
For more rage?
I
Well,
cannot
that sounds
believe...
like the kind of thing they can't leave. They can't leave it.
Yeah.
And
You must be seeing it between builds.
The problem isn't so
I hope
much
so.
that I don't think they're not gonna change anything.
Right.
They have to change something because it's dead right now. There isn't even a single proc in the spec. It is completely linear. There's nothing that changes it up. I'm sure they're going to change something. The problem is we don't hear anything. We've been blowing up the Twitter and the feedback forums and everything, and a lot of other classes are getting feedback like, oh yeah, we're going to fix this, or yeah, we're going to change that. Warriors, it's still just dead radio silence. So that worries me that they don't really quite know what direction they're trying to go yet, and I'm worried that they're going to try to reinvent the wheel instead of just leaving us with a specs that work.
Like when I did, again, back to the alpha testing episodes, if you go watch them, like I played all the specs. Fury felt fine. I think Arms actually felt kind of fun because I was like, I charge in, like do something, do some damage, and like all big hits. I dual wield glass. All my hits are like little tiny, it's all over the place. So it felt fine. But then when I saw the notes about how you lost like builders normally, and you had to wait for rage from swings to then like choose one because you only get so much rage, that felt really weird to me. And I hope it's just between builds right now because that just seems really not the same aesthetic that Arms has ever had before. So
Arms has actually been the highest actions per minute spec in the game for a long time. Yes, it's the Mists version of Arms is I think 68 actions per minute, which is really high. Fury is the second highest with 66. Wow. So changing it to a slow, heavy spec, I mean that's fine. It makes it a little bit different. But having downtime isn't the way to do it. Simply standing around waiting to auto-attack to get rage to do something is not fun. Right. If you want a spec to be heavy hitting, you can get that feeling without sacrificing GCDs. I mean, introduce some kind of stacking mechanic, hitting a weak attack that doesn't do a lot of damage makes your next mortal strike really heavy. That accomplishes the same thing without leaving you, alt-tabbing to Twitter, to tweet Celestial on how much you hate the arm spec in between auto attack swings.
Well, I got faith in those guys, so let's hope that they give you guys a little bit more feedback in the future. I know Celestial has been the loudest voice that you guys get feedback from, and I'm pretty sure he was gone a week or two ago. So I know he's come back and he's catching up on stuff. So let's hope that y'all get more feedback from him soon. So.
Right. And this is not for chat room, just two little things here. We're not like doing these little soapbox times to like, bad mouth the beta or where it's going or just like do that. It's just that it's the insiders' opinions of these great players on their classes and what it's changing right now, just to kind of get it out there, especially if everyone in the chat room is playing the same classes, just kind of sit the same if you have the same, thought process or you feel the same way. Just because the whole point of iteration and how games like this evolve and how development works in this stage. And especially because Blizzard is so feedbacky and open in this regard, more than they have ever been in the past expansion upgrades. Like it's a great time for you to get your opinions out there and to come together on this kind of stuff. And chat room asked, there was actually a question from Just Playing Creepy to see other classes, leaders, and theory crafters' opinions on the Warlord's class direction. And Tickle linked a thread on SentryTotem, which is great. But if you missed our episode last week, we had our first alpha first impressions with Trekkie and Kelric. We'll be doing those kind of episodes probably once a month or built into other episodes and asking those players what they think. Just kind of building it in there. Because we'll have different players and different classes on all the time from now to Warlords. So you'll get enough of that feedback over the course of the next couple of months. Absolutely. So that's the goal. Anyway, that's the goal. So is there anything else you guys think of? Any other questions that came in from chat room? Or we move into the after show, I assume. But I think that's pretty good on me. I think it's button time.
I think that we covered all the topics that we needed to cover. Definitely had some great feedback from you guys about how SentryTotem works and definitely educating the community about this great resource that they have available to them. And I think it'll be really exciting to see where the website goes in the future as interest expands.
No, absolutely. Totally. It should be really cool to see how that goes. There's lots of things in flux. I have to open something else real quick. I broke something. Let's see if I can find it.
Breaking stuff, babe. Jeez.
I know.
That's what he does best.
Break stuff all the time.
Wait, where'd my image go? What happened? Help! Help! I think we're okay. We'll get there. But it's time to hit the button. And there it is. Okie dokie. Thank you all again for tuning in. Episode 48 of Final Boss TV. Our little SentryTotem spotlight here around the table. We had Tickle Totem, the creator behind SentryTotem. You guys should have that bookmarked by now if you do not. Thank you again for being on the show, Tickle. It was awesome. You can go follow her on Twitter at Tickle Totem. And of course, bookmark SentryTotem. Thank you for being on the show again. This is your second time, right?
Yep.
Yes, it is.
Yes, second time. And we'll probably get you back around here again, hopefully. And Archie, one of the staff experts on SentryTotem, you can follow him on Twitter at Archimtiros. And you can probably type in Archie and it might populate because his name's all weird and stuff. But thank you for being on the show again, sir.
Hey, thank you. It's a pleasure to be here again.
What? What? I'm not muted. No. What's chat room talking about? We're good to go. Nope. I'm good to go. Good to go. The co-host of Final Boss TV over here on Twitter is Annafield. You can go follow her there.
Yep. Nice to see everybody this week, and thanks so much for coming. Make sure that you come back next week for another exciting episode.
Yes. Before I get to the episode that's coming on next week, I have a little bit of announcement. I'm going to be talking about this, of course, on the actual live stream more often. So if you guys pop in and see me doing the alpha and beta or beta coverage now, I'll be talking about it. But Marble the Noble, Silver Latomi, a friend of mine, and myself are breaking down and adapting War Crimes, the novel by Christy Golden, to a 10-part machinima episodic, hopefully to launch by late summer, early fall 2015. Now, if you are a 3D modeler, a graphic designer, a voiceover artist, and you want to help us out with this project, or you know someone that is, we need your help. Go to FinalBoss.tv, hit the little mail icon there, and send us a correspondence so I can get back in touch with you. If you have a little portfolio or like a DeviantArt page or links to your work, then go for that, because we definitely need some people. I already have a crew behind me right now that's on the current side project, but this is a huge undertaking. So if you want to be part of this huge project, then send me an email. And next week, however, we are sitting down with the one, I think the only, Preach Gaming. Mr. Mike himself will be here next week to, I don't know what we're going to talk about. I honestly don't know, because like his show is so different than like anything else right now, like his drama show and his little live stream he does. But Preach will be here talking about stuff and Warlords of Draenor, and I'm sure tons of opinions of his. So we'll see you all there for next week at 4 p.m. EST, 10 p.m. CEST, if you're over there in the European areas over the pond there. Should be awesome to see you all there next week. Stick around for the after show if you have any questions for us to answer. And we have a couple little giveaways to do during the little break-a-poo here. But we will see you all next week. Trust in the coin. Have a great one. For everyone behind the scenes of Final Boss TV, thank you for watching. And we'll see you later, guys. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Thanks, everyone.